Peace to the leaders, achievers, believers, and future seers. You already know what time it is. It is another edition of the O Show. My name is the Overwrite, the man who definitely does control the hype. And welcome to another edition, right? So now, this next story that I'm going to be bringing to you is wild, and it's basically me speaking about Bushiri's membership skyrocketing to a number of 2 million after fleeing South Africa in the year 2020. So it's quite wild, right? Shepherd Bushiri is the prophet who literally fled South Africa while on bail, and he's basically claiming that his church has grown to over 2 million registered members since he left South Africa. So now South African authorities keep fighting for his extradition, but his influence keeps multiplying in the country and not shrinking. So now Bushiri, in an ENCA interview, Maubani, says that his church expanded in South African cities like Joburg, Pretoria, Durban, and Cape Town, all while he is sitting in Malawi. And he's basically framing it as divine growth, and critics are basically seeing it as a red flag. So now, here's the real heat behind it, right? So now, Bushiri actually fled in the year 2020 amid fraud and money laundering charges. So now, the Malawian court has blocked South Africa's extradition attempts, saying that the case that they have against Bushiri had flaws. So now, meanwhile, the church did go digital, it went hybrid, and also went global. Now he claims that the membership is basically 5 times bigger than before, and he's also doubling down, saying that he's not political, even after being visited by big names. So now he basically, in the interview, he wants the world to see him as a prophet, a people's man, a brother, not a fugitive. And whether we believe him or not, the numbers he's throwing out are loud. So now, when looking at a story like this, right, I always try to find angles and talking points, or like conversation starters, right? So now, for me, it's the first thing I want to speak about here is the fugitive prophet effect, right? So now, Bushiri, as much as all that stuff was happening, right, and him fleeing and all that, man, homeboy didn't lose influence. In fact, he multiplied his influence. And then the escape from South Africa to Malawi didn't break his brand. It actually boosted it. And for me, it's a question of like, yo, man, is this like faith or the power of mystique? You know what I mean? And then also the whole concept of digital faith platform. So now, it's quite clear that homeboy has real power, because now his church didn't need him to physically be in South Africa. It reminds me of that Christ Embassy Church. You see it everywhere, bro, in the hood, in the city, and all that. And then where's Pastor Chris? I don't even know where that nigga is. You know what I'm saying? So live streams, hybrid gatherings, and online registration basically turned exile into expansion. And then it's crazy how religion is expanding faster than the law. You know what I mean? And then when you look at the story in itself, right, we can't really ignore the extradition drama. So now South Africa still wants him back, and it's crazy because now South Africa wants him back so that we can actually charge him, but now South Africans are basically enabling his growth. You know what I'm saying? So now Malawi basically said, nah, not like this, and a case basically exposed cracks in a cross-border legal corporation. So that basically means that certain laws, Zanzi, they don't fly when you cross-border them. You know what I'm saying? And then that whole thing of like power beyond borders. You know, imagine South Africans following a spiritual leader that is outside the country, and there's basically millions of these people following inside South Africa. You know what I'm saying? So now, my perspective on that is straight up influence. You know what I mean? Whether it's political, whether it's faith-based, that's real influence. You know what I mean? And also it's this whole thing of faith versus like accountability. So now the debate is quite simple. You know, are people defending a prophet, or are people defending somebody who is running away from justice? So now this is something that we as South Africans, or we as not even weed. Me, I'm not fucking myself there. The people that are following Bushiri, like, are you following a fugitive, or are you following like somebody? Are you following, someone who's running away from justice, or are you following a prophet? So now we need to also just like do some introspection and reflect on the matter at hand. You know what I mean? And then historically, right? It's kind of ironic also. Like pressure does grow movements, not kill them. So now Bushiri is basically the latest example of this. So now my question to you, ladies and gentlemen, is so do you think Bushiri claimed 2 million member growth as a real spiritual movement, or a controversial empire built on escape, hype, and loyalty? Let me know in the comment section below. Follow the O Show across every single platform. It is the fastest growing podcast at the moment, right? So now the only way it's going to expand the way it needs to expand is through your help and your interaction. So let's do the most. Let's like, let's share, let's subscribe, and let's interact. But as for me, I am the Overwrite, the man who definitely does control the hype, and I'm over and out. Aware.